from 1983, a movie prop, an homage to this man and his perennial love of robots. Oh, did I tell you this morning, or this afternoon, whenever we begin Odyssey, that THX 1138 is about robots? That George Lucas's first film was about robots? He is fascinated and obsessed. I mean, think of this. He's had two films that had little, if nothing, to do with space, right? THX 1138 and American Graffiti, right? And then he made Star Wars. And he's been making Star Wars ever since. Over and over and over again. It's one theme. It's one saga. It's one history of someone set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Unless, of course, it's not a fictional history, and the setting is a lot closer than you might imagine. Which brings us to this data point. In that scene of Shorty Crater, what you're not seeing on this wide-angle scale, here's the rover, and there is it Schmidt or is it Harrison? I can never, it's Cernan, taken by Schmidt. Okay. After 11, they gave both astronauts cameras and really lost up our light because we can't figure out without audit data as to who took what picture. In the bottom of this crater, you'll see all kinds of very strange things that actually look like shards of glass when you properly produce the picture. Oh, and then you've got this little guy here, which in close-up looks like this. We initially started calling this Data's head because it looked to me when I found it, which was what, a year ago or something like that, a year and a half ago, with this incredible anodized red stripe around the chin, the two eye sockets, the nose, the symmetry, the head with some kind of fin. This looks like a robot's cranium. We've done measurements. It's exactly the same size as a human head. I don't have the slide in here because I don't have time, but it's actually, we did put it in the book, right? Right. Okay, it is in the book. Then I was lucky through Steve Troy to be able to get 2 frames from NSSDC. There are like 12 or 14 separate shots of this, so we're going to put them all together in the computer in the next, few months, and we'll have some even better data to show you at some other point in time. But I put 2 together, which is what I had time for before we had our publishing deadline, and that's when we got this. If you look carefully inside his eyes, they are camera irises. They are lenses, exactly like C3PO. Now here is the model. Is it possible that the reason this man is so unhappy is because the role of discovering scientists, of which he was, of the confirmation of not only the most extraordinary ruins, but of potentially part of the culture, intelligent robots that he and Schmidt brought back to Earth, that their role is simply not to tell anyone because the data would be too destabilizing, according to Brookings. Okay, lights please. I want to say the end part of this so I can see all your faces, okay? It is my personal belief that the reason that STS-120 is carrying that lightsaber is because there is this cadre of NASA people who think of themselves as the Jedi Knights, who are preservers of this ancient cultural and artifactual information. And they have taken this information, they've taken these artifacts, they've taken this technology, and they have done God knows what with it. And so the mission of STS-120, the tetrahedral mission, with the 7 astronauts launched at 11:38, et cetera, is all an homage to their kind of mentor, the guy who was handpicked by NASA, who was the close associate and colleague of Joseph Campbell, the most preeminent mythologist of our time, who unfortunately has died, so we can't ask him a few questions. And what we're seeing in Star Wars is not fiction at all, but in fact is supposed to be our own history, laid out in the form of the information and technology brought back and kept secret for over 40 years by the Apollo missions to the moon. That George Lucas is not an instant boy wonder who just happened to write the right script and get the right deal and hit the public with the right, classical, archetypal, metaphorical, whatever. But in fact, he has been part of Brookings' careful cultural conditioning, called for in the Brookings Report over 40 years ago, that we needed to be acclimated to this stunning reality before the reality could be made real. And the reason he is being honored tonight with a mission that had to be launched on time to commemorate his first film is because George Lucas is a key part of our being brought up the curve, and at some point, someone somewhere is going to kind of leak out that this, in fact, is real. That that's part of the Jedi, the Return of the Jedi motif, which is why it's not a 1977 lightsaber, it's from the Return of the Jedi film, which is part of the mythos under which they are all living and in which they devoutly, and I don't use that term accidentally, which they devoutly, with all their 19.5s and 33s and 120s and all that, believe. That is what I think is going on. In which case, what Vladimir Putin is doing in sending 4 Russian networks to cover our press conference and Ken Johnston blowing the whistle on what's been going on all these decades becomes incredibly interesting. We are all part of a geopolitical galactic psychodrama, which is not long and a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but is talking about us in a solar system of a few million years ago to which we are now cultural refugees, desperately trying to figure out our piece in this grand galactic puzzle. And on that note, we're going to have some fun because now you get a chance to tell me where I'm wrong. Thank you.